Hey, I'm Abby and welcome back to the Life Work Balance YouTube channel. Today I'm bringing you another video on questions you can ask at the end of an interview. Many of you have requested additional questions to ask at the end of an interview, so if you're one of those who has requested it, this is for you. If you've never watched any of my videos before, and this is one of the first ones, and you're interested in learning more about questions you should ask at the end of an interview, I have an entire playlist dedicated to questions to ask at the end of an interview. I would highly recommend that you start with the very first video, which is the 3 types of questions to ask at the end of an interview, and then you can move on to my other videos. Before we jump into that, please remember to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, as well as remember to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. So in my very first video about questions to ask at the end of an interview, I talk about the 3 different types of questions you should ask. Culture questions, logistical or technical questions, and then hard or hesitation questions. So this video will focus exclusively on additional culture questions that you can ask at the end of an interview. It's really important to know if an organization, a team, or a manager or supervisor is going to be a good fit for you. Yes, an interview is really the organization's time to get to know you as a potential candidate and what it would look like for you to be an employee. It's also your opportunity to make a decision on if this role and this organization is going to be a good fit for you. The number one reason why people leave jobs is because they have a supervisor or manager who they don't like or they don't get along with. So the questions that I'm about to share with you today are great culture questions to help you decide if this organization is going to be a good fit for you or not. So our very first question is, how does this organization or team support professional growth and development? This is a great question to ask because growth and development is important to any role. So if career growth is important to you, if growing in a career ladder is important to you, then this question will hopefully help you answer that. You could also narrow this question down and ask the interviewer specifically the following question. What was something the organization did recently to support your professional growth and development? What's great about this question is it's more pointed to the individual. So they will have to do some self-reflection and identify a key moment or key opportunity that the organization or their team gave them in order to grow professionally. So instead of just giving you a blanket statement about what some of the benefits are that they might offer or some of the perks for working for the organization, they have to give you a personal experience that they have with professional growth and development with this organization. Hopefully they'll also tell you how recent that opportunity was. If it was 5 years ago, that could be a red flag. If it was a month ago, that is great to hear. It means the organization is continuously and readily supporting people in their professional growth and development. The second question you can ask is a little bit more on the health and wellness side of things. So you could ask, what resources does the organization provide to support mental health? Ideally, you will get an answer to this question that goes beyond just the general health insurance benefits. Sure, when it comes to working for an organization, most organizations offer EAP programs, which are employee assistance programs, and EAPs generally have mental health resources. As a part of an EAP, you might have access to 3 free sessions with a mental health provider. However, this question will hopefully go beyond those generic benefits. Hopefully they'll answer this question with some information about their wellness programs and how they might be addressing burnout. So this is a really great question to ask and is really important to employees these days. Maybe in the past, in the old days, asking this sort of question would have been taboo. But most employees these days are looking for organizations that support mental well-being, that support mental health. So ask this question and see what the interviewers say. The third type of question you can ask at the end of an interview is, what do you enjoy most about working here? Asking this, again, pointed question directly to the interviewer is a great opportunity to learn more about the culture, to learn more about why the interviewer has chosen to stay working here and what they enjoy most about working here. It also gets the interviewer talking. Getting the interviewer talking is one of the key strategies to having a successful interview. Interviewers who do more talking in interviews tend to feel like the interview has gone better. So they'll have a more positive impression of the interview, which means that your chances of being moved from this interview stage to the next is going to be slightly higher. So the more you can get someone to talk about themselves during an interview, the higher your chances are with moving forward. Question number 4 that you could ask at the end of an interview. Can you share an example of an employee who was able to grow within the organization? This is another great pointed question, similar to one of the first questions that I mentioned in this video. And this is all about career growth and development. It also will talk about a career ladder. So the organization, or specifically the interviewer, will have to come up with a specific example of an employee who has grown within the organization. This will really let you know if there's a career ladder or maybe a lack thereof of a career ladder. It will highlight some professional development opportunities. Some organizations are really flat and there's not a lot of career growth opportunities. It's good to know that, and it's okay to work for an organization like that because it will still likely be a stepping stone organization so that you can grow in your career overall. But if working for a single organization and growing within that organization is important to you, the answer to this question will be valuable. Question number 5 that you can ask at the end of an interview. What are some ways success will be measured in the first 90 days or in the first year? This is a great question to ask, and while this is a culture question, it's also somewhat of a logistics or technical question. This is a great question because it gives you an idea of the expectations of the person who will be moving into this role. And you can really measure your own skills and expectations against what the interviewers say. They might even mention some specific projects that this person would work on, or cover some of the general tasks and responsibilities that didn't come up in the interview before. So asking about how success will be measured is important. It gives you an idea of what is important to the interviewers and the hiring manager and the organization as a whole, and it lets you know what would be expected of you if you were potentially hired in the first 90 days to 1 year. Question number 6 that you can ask at the end of an interview. What are the common themes you find among your top performers? The answer to this question will give you insight into what is valued and what is important to this team, to this manager, and to the organization as a whole. Knowing what qualities and characteristics top performers tend to have will be a good way for you to compare yourself to them. Do you have similar qualities and characteristics? If you do, great. You can hone in on those. If you don't, this will be an opportunity to use this as a growth opportunity. How can you grow and develop your skills currently to start to match some of those high valued qualities and characteristics? Question number 7 that you can ask at the end of an interview. What would my first 30 days look like in this role? Again, this is more of a logistical or maybe technical question, but also aligns with the culture questions. What's great about this is it gives you an idea of if the organization or your direct manager, if they're in this interview, has a plan for you for the first 30 days. Having a plan or not having a plan and just winging it can really change your experience as an employee. So knowing what your first month would look like is a really good insight into learning a little bit more about the position and giving you some insight into what to expect for those first 30 days. Do they have a specific onboarding plan? Do they have a training plan? Are they just going to throw you into certain projects? Are you going to be attending a lot of meetings? So what do those first 30 days look like? And finally, the 8th question that you can ask at the end of an interview is, what is the standard process for giving feedback? Feedback is critical for the success in any position. How is feedback given? Is it given through a formal process, a formal review process, like an annual review, quarterly milestone meetings, or regular check-ins or coaching sessions? You will want to make sure that this works for you. If it is an annual process for giving feedback, you will want to make sure that you put it on the top of your list to establish regular intervals of meetings with your potential supervisor or manager so that you can have those regular check-ins so that when that annual review comes up, you aren't blindsided with feedback that you were not expecting. If they don't mention those regular check-ins or coaching opportunities, bring that up. Ask them if this is something that they engage in, and if not, why? Having constant feedback is the only way that we improve as individuals. So even though feedback can sometimes be uncomfortable to request or even uncomfortable to give, it is important for all of our individual growth and development. So knowing what the organization's culture is around feedback is really important to knowing if this is going to be a good fit for you or not. So again, if you found this video helpful, I highly recommend you check out my playlist with several other videos on questions that you can ask at the end of an interview. I would recommend starting with the first video, which is about the 3 types of questions you can ask at the end of an interview, and then I would go from there. So if you did find this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Remember to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life-work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. And if you have any questions that you've asked at the end of an interview, which have been really helpful for you, to get to know if an organization would be a good fit or not, please throw them in the comments box below. Share what you've learned and what you've experienced with other people who are about to go through something very similar. If you have any other questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, throw them in the comments box below and I will get back to you as quickly as I am able. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.